Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. You know, people, to tell you about SuiteRecording, this wonderful studio, is the owner, the producer of this show, and my buddy, Joe Gangemi. What's up, Joe?
Yo, Coop, what's going on? Yes, this is Joe Gangemi from SuiteRecording. At SuiteRecording, we help brands, businesses, and organizations to launch podcasts and YouTube channels of their own. From those podcast episodes, we then help you to create social media content like video posts, blog posts, and more. It's an efficient and effective approach to digital marketing. So if you're interested in learning more, you can contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
All right. So we have a great show today. As I said, two people I've never really talked to. Now, the first person I've met at events, I met her at Tyler Ardron's event. From Reynolds Restoration, it's Jenny Washart. How you doing, Jenny?
Hi, how are you? I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and from the Gloucester County Chamber of Commerce, we have Janet Garraty. How you doing, Janet?
Good morning, Coop. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
From TD Bank, Krista Collings. How are you, Krista?
Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So Jenny, tell us a little more about Reynolds Restoration, what you do, and a little more about the company.
Yes, so I am with Reynolds Restoration. We are a 24-hour emergency service company. We deal with fire, flood, mold, any type of disasters. I am the business development director. I absolutely love it there. So they are independently owned. It is an amazing company to work for. They do everything from, cleaning it up to rebuilding it. So it's kind of awesome.
Okay. How about you, Janet? Because you're with the Gloucester County Chamber. Tell us more about it.
All right. So I'm the executive director of the Gloucester County Chamber of Commerce. We got about 450 members here in Gloucester County. It's basically a regional chamber of commerce. Most of them are Gloucester County based businesses, but we got about 30% of our membership comes from outside the county because a lot of businesses want to do business in Gloucester County because it's the fastest growing county in southern New Jersey. So, hey, listen, it's business development for people that need their business development, professional development, networking. We have a lot of different benefits we provide to our members, and it's about the organization was started in 2001, so we've been at it for a while.
Okay, and Krista, well, I actually bank with TD Bank because when I moved back from LA, TD Bank was walking distance from my place, and I said, I'm going to go to TD Bank. But you work for TD Bank. Tell us more about what you do, and tell us more about TD Bank.
Absolutely. So TD is America's most convenient bank. We've actually been around for over 150 years. Not myself. I did not start with. And we are one of the 10 largest banks in the U.S. We have a full range of retail, small business, and commercial products and services. We're actually headquartered right in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And my office is actually right at 20th and Market in Philadelphia. So what do? My role is a vice president, and I'm also a relationship manager. What does that mean? I'm a resource person for all things TD. That's basically what that means. I'm basically the customer's advocate and person to go to and give out my cell phone and make sure that they're getting the very best service and products available to them through the bank. So.
Okay, well, no, you all have very different professions. And I want to find out, how did you get to where you are now? Because, no one sits there when you get out of college or high school, you don't sit there. I'm sure you don't sit there and go, hey, I'm going to be a head of a chamber of commerce. It's something that so we'll start with you, Janet. How did you come to the job that you have now? What were your steps? What made you end up where you are?
Well, Coop, you don't have enough time in this podcast to answer that question, really, quite frankly. But, hey, listen, I'm a graduate of Glassboro State College with a law justice degree. So how did a girl like me get into this seat? It was a long journey, a lot of learning. My first half of my career was law enforcement, quasi-law enforcement. And the second half of my career has been really I was a reporter for a number of years. I transitioned my own business gained a lot of experience. And then about 4 years ago, this opportunity came up. So I guess because I had an array of interesting resume, quite frankly. And I think I bring all that to the table, and they asked me to come in as director. So that's the short version. How's that?
That's good. Okay, how about you, Jenny? Because I know you're newer at this position, at this job, but tell me, how did you end up in the restoration world and at Reynolds?
So, yeah, you would have to have a really long show to hear my background, but so I actually, believe it or not, I started out in the medical field. I was working at Cooper as a phlebotomist. I actually left there. I was in the restaurant business. I was in the entertainment business. I was the general manager of an entertainment company for many, many years. And then I started doing lashes, and I had my own business, and crazy COVID happened, and my girlfriend actually is the vice president of a company for they actually do claims for Amazon drivers. So I was like, hey, I'll jump on, I'll do it. And I just remember sitting in my house and being like, oh my gosh, do I really have to look at another claim? Like every day my queue was hundreds of claims. I'm like, I can't even get to these people. It was every Amazon driver that smashed someone's mailbox or did something. And then mind you, I'd have, Susie and Johnny on the other end, screaming at me because they want their mailbox fixed today. And I'm like, I can't do this. I need to be with people. I am a people person. So, my girlfriend was like, you would be great at business development. You love people. I hate people. You would love to be out in the crowd talking to people. And so a job had come up for restoration, and I was like, hey, how hard can it be? I love helping people. So it was kind of like I can, put because also, on the other end, I actually was working at a rehab center, to get people help and, people off the streets and all that. That's a huge passion of mine. I do that on the side as well. But I was like, hey, maybe I would like to go to a networking event. And I remember my first networking event was with Janet, and I walked in and I was in a corner, standing in a corner, oh my God. All right. So I got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That is my best thing that I say. And then I started the Woodbury Chamber, and I'm like, yeah, I can be out every night. This is fun. And then I started to understand, I need a work-life balance. I can't be networking every night and then working all day long. But I love restoration. I love restoration because at people's worst times, I feel like I'm a great resource, and I get to help people, clean up the mess that, that happens. People have a flood and they're, they're at their worst moment in their life. At least they get to deal with someone who is genuine and truly cares about making things better. And so I started in the restoration, and I love it. I'll be with Reynolds forever. As long as they don't get rid of me, I'll be there. I feel like I'll be there forever. So that's kind of awesome. How I got caught into it.
That's great. How about you, Krista?
Sure. So I actually started in banking about 20 years ago. And at the time I was getting my degree, bachelor's in business administration. And to be honest with you, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was really the first woman in my family to go on to get a degree. And everyone was like, this is so awesome. You're getting a degree. What are you doing with it? And honestly, I didn't really, I honestly loved journalism when I was younger. So I just felt like the business administration degree would be great for me to get a good handle on all things. At some point I thought about being an entrepreneur. But honestly, the person that hired me was Commerce Bank, and I really enjoyed being a customer service representative. And when I graduated, I had awesome people at that company that said, hey, don't you want to go full time? And I said, sure. I know that my parents sure as heck want me to go full time. So, that worked out great. And I went into lending. I've had a lot of taps on the shoulders along the way. And really, earned every single bit of them because I've just always said, no one's going to outwork me. And I've just really worked super hard for everything that I have done. And I was not afraid when someone tapped me to try something different, to learn the role, to, you know, put the time and energy into everything I was doing. I was really happy that I had 2 children while I was in banking, and was able to be home with both of them when they were first born, and also continue to make sure that I was able to have some flexibility and some time off to really enjoy as they grew up. And it's just really been a great career choice for me. First off, there's just an endless amount of options to kind of go into through banking, and a lot of open doors. A lot of people have mentored me along the way. And when I came to TD, which was a little bit over a year and a half ago, I made the choice to be here because I saw how community minded they were. I saw it as a great brand to stand behind. And I felt like for all the customers that are my passion and appreciate them so much, love advocating for them, I felt like I could really bring them a great level of service by being here.
Okay.
So.
Well, now you all seem, you love your jobs. That's all good. And, we're all in the world of social media. And when you go in and you see people talk about, motivation, have the people like, oh, motivate, people always put up stuff and you go, wait, what, look into your heart and tell me what actually motivates you. I mean, I don't want the answer like, oh, this is, but what motivates you? We'll start with you, Krista. What actually motivates you day to day? What motivates you?
So one thing that, if somehow I won the lottery and I never had to worry about a single thing monetarily again, what truly is my passion is connecting people to other people and being able to really serve beyond myself. I'm just someone that I'm a giver, I'm such a giver. And so for me, I'm just super happy when I see something that I did had a trickle effect and created something. So that's the passion for me.
How about you, Janet? What motivates Janet Garraty?
Well, I tell you, if I won the lottery, I'd be out. I'm going to be honest with you right now. That'd be it for me. But I didn't finish reading the book, honestly. There was a book out a few months ago, and it said, listen, if you need motivation, you're in trouble. Right. So I've been blessed. I was blessed by being born into a family that they're born motivators. They were always hardworking. I was blessed with being surrounded by a lot of very smart people in my family. I don't think I hit that level, but I can play along. And I think having that internal drive all the time, since I was a little kid, whether I was playing the drums, whether I was playing basketball, whether I was trying out for something, whether I was trying to get a job, whether I was trying to get a promotion, whatever it was, there's a drive in there that I still to this day cannot explain, other than it's helped me build a life that, I enjoy. And so that's it. It's a self-determination that I was just lucky enough. It's part of my DNA because of the family I'm from.
Okay. How about you, Jenny? What makes you tick?
So, if I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be completely real, so I have had a very interesting growing up. My mom passed away when I was 12 from breast cancer, and my dad was, not always there. I will say, I came from a family of addiction, and I used to look at that and say that's definitely something, you know, that I don't want in my life. I want to do what I can to succeed and be the best person that I can possibly be. A couple years ago, I was in a really dark place. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't deal with. I didn't deal with a lot of my childhood stuff. I didn't deal with things, and it led me to a very dark place. And I remember just sitting there one day, attempting to make a really bad decision and end my life. And I completely changed that. I have two beautiful children that motivate me every day to want to be the best person. I am a people pleaser. I am someone who will go above and beyond for anyone. But I absolutely love being genuine and helping people, and like Krista said, connecting people. If there's somebody you want to meet and Jenny knows them, Jenny will introduce you. I have remained the most positive person over some of the darkest times. And I just feel like for me, it motivates me so much every day I wake up, and I just, I thank the Lord that I am where I am today, and that I am pushing through, and that I can, I have this great, amazing network behind me, and people in the community that have motivated me to want to just keep doing more and keep doing more and keep doing more. And every day it's like, sometimes I'll listen to people and, they're negative, and I'm just like, it could be this, like, you can wake up feeling that way, but at the end of the day, like, you should really understand how blessed and truly, blessed that you are to have everything that you have. So keep pushing yourself. And that's why I try to always be an inspiration to many, and be a person that someone can always count on. And, you need anything, contact me. Like I'll even, talk to you. A lot of things we don't talk about is mental, people's mental status and how they feel. And, so I feel like my motivation is I'm going to be the best version of myself. So whatever that means I need to do. And, I will continue to push and show my kids that, you can do anything you want in life. Dream big. That I've told my kids that from, day one. My son's 21 years old, just started his own company, mobile detailing, and like just watching him, and now he's an inspiration and putting up videos and all this stuff. So yeah, so that's a little side note of me, but
That's good though. That's good. It makes sense what you motivated. Now I'm going to switch the gears here now though, because we're all talking about motivation and how we what we love about our job. Okay. Well, when I did stand-up comedy, I loved performing. I would be on the road 250 shows a year. But what I hated driving to the gigs and having 23 hours. I hated it because going on stage, you can't change that feeling, but I hated it. So it's something I didn't like about my job. And I know all of you have something you don't like about your job, and you won't want, and it has to be something terrific, but there has to be something you don't like about your job. Janet, we'll start with you. What is something that you don't like about your job? And if you say, I love everything about my job, I know you're lying, because it may even just be something where I hate filling out a report or anything. But what don't you like about your job?
Well, thanks for putting me first down on that one, Coop. I really appreciate that. I think, in all honesty, listen, this is a great job. It is really a cool gig. Listen, we've got, like I said, I got 450 members. We've got about 20 board members, right? And then, I got a lot of businesses coming and going. So it's a lot of plate spinning. And there's sometimes I get a little worked up about, are any of them going to fall? So, keeping pace all the time, having to be, okay, well, this is going on, this has to happen, and all of that. And there are times that I don't get confused by it, but, I get concerned that it gets ahead of me. And so I'd like maybe instead of 20 plates, it's 10. So that's probably the most challenging portion of my job. And at the same time, I love variety. So, right, the things you hate, but then there's a flip side to it. Like everything, there's a lot of things you hate, but there's a flip side that you might like. This is no different.
How about you, Jenny? How about what don't you like about your job, Jenny?
So I have to say it's difficult for me because I from where I was and where I am now, I absolutely love my job. The one thing that is a little hard sometimes is like I have to deal with people at the worst times of their life, and I have to deal with business owners at the worst time of, the worst time. So for me, it's, sometimes it's like, oh man, like I feel bad because like I have empathy and I have compassion. So like, it's, sometimes it's like, oh my God, like I look at what I do in it. It's like, I have to wait for someone's, whole life to fall apart a little bit before, before I can clean it up. But the positive to that is I love what we do and how we do it and the process and how concerning and how a situation can go from being a complete nightmare to being the absolute best, fixing it up in such a quick time. Our response time. I love the fact that, it's funny. We had a sales retreat on Wednesday in Harrisburg. So I'm in Harrisburg and just listening to our one, director of emergency service. And he's like, because we have like a form that needs to be filled out when someone calls in with a loss. And he's like, listen, I'm more worried about you calling me and giving me name, number, this, that, so I can get a crew dispatch. So the quicker that I can get somebody there is the quicker that I can get the job started and, and get it rolling so that we can get it cleaned up in a quick response time. So it's cool to hear how everybody else, their parts, their jobs play a part in someone's, business and all we want is the same thing. We just want somebody to get up and get everything cleaned up in a quick matter of time. So their business isn't, they don't have the downtime and they're not losing money. So,
So you don't like that.
I just don't like that. I just don't, I guess for me, I just don't like the fact that sometimes, I have to deal with people at their worst times,
It is hard. I was in your business for a while too.
So,
And it's because they go, oh, hey, how you doing? If your house ever burns down, call me. And
and that's one of my things. I hope you never, I hope you never need me, but
exactly.
You do need me.
We'll do a good job. I know exactly what you're talking about. How about you, Krista? What don't you like? Because you've been in banking for a long time, and so you have to really love it. But there's got to be some things you don't like.
Yes, absolutely. So I will say I chose to do small business lending and I chose to do it at TD. So I am very happy that I'm able to be here and be doing the job I am. However, there is times where there is no time, none. It's just, you're literally going from either one event to the next and I always literally on Monday say, okay, this week, I'm going to be in control of this week that I have ahead. And then by Monday afternoon, I am completely sidetracked and in some other completely different direction and trying to manage, making sure that everyone is given adequate time, energy, including, the little people that look up to me as mom. So, I would say the thing I don't love is not having enough time. And it's certainly not a reflection on TD. This is me. This is a Krista thing. I just unfortunately want to do it all. And, I'm still working on time management. So and probably will be for years.
Well, because you work for time management, we all do what we do. But what do you do when you have a bad day? Like if I wake up and I'm in a crappy mood, I put music on. I think music can always get me in a good mood. I don't put anything morose on. I put on, something upbeat. I don't sit there, put, The End by the Doors. I don't put that on. But I pick something happy, that gets me in a good mood. When you have a shitty day, before or after, what do you do? Like when you, Jenny, when you have a bad day and you've been through a lot, you've been in the dark times, and you said that, what do you do that brings you into a good mood? Because it sucks walking around in a funk, but we all do it. But how do you get out of that funk? If you're in a funk, Jenny, how do you get out of it?
So I would say for me, I mean, that's happened a lot in the past, but now I've learned ways of definitely dealing with it better. So, of course, obviously we all have days where we wake up and we're like, oh my gosh, like I gotta, but what's so crazy about that is the days that I wake up and I'm like, oh, I just feel blah, like are usually the days that something amazing happens. I either meet somebody who is a power connector. I either talk to someone and have a great conversation. I always say, so my biggest thing is, every morning I'm like, when I start to feel like that, I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I always, or, sometimes I change it up. Dear God, please don't make me want to slap someone today. Like I need that. I need that positivity so that I'm not, going out there and 9 times out of 10, they're the days that I make something happen. And that for me is, the days I don't want to do it are the days I push myself that much harder, because usually, just my track record, I see that those days I end up going back and I journal. So I'll write everything down and I'm looking back, like wake up, horrible day. This happened, this happened, this happened. End of the day, turned it into this, met this person, had a great connection, great conversation. And, so, but yeah, we all have shitty days. So it's really pushing through them.
All right, how about you, Krista? What do you do when you wake up in a funk, or in the middle of the day you find yourself in a funk?
I will say I am very much to many people's annoyance an extremely positive human being, and definitely have had plenty of not so great days. But I do a great job of self-talking to myself and making sure that I remember where I came from, how I got here, and that it's all self-earned. So I just say to myself, you know what, if this isn't going to work out, it really probably is not my fault because in all honesty, I'm doing a great job. So, let's pass it to someone else. Let's brush it off, move on. I also do walking. So, it's so funny. Sometimes I'll just like pace around the office. Obviously working from home today. So I would take my dog for a walk, or at the office, I'll just walk around, and that's how I'm dealing with something, and it's probably best to leave me alone.
Okay, how about you, Janet? How do you deal with it?
Well, yeah, I think a little bit of touching on what Krista said. I think is trying when you're having a tough day, and listen, sometimes like what Jenny said, some days it's just gonna be hard. And it's just going to be hard. And, I've lived a long life, and I've had tragedies and heartbreaks, and, sometimes you can't I was talking to a friend recently about if you're having a bad spot, sometimes you got to realize you're just in the spot, fighting to get out of it might be more trouble than it's worth, and just understanding where you are. And then how I've dealt with it is that accountability, like what Krista said, is like, boy, I've been pretty lucky. I've got great health. I come from a wonderful family. I have a terrific husband, two beautiful children. And it's just so checking in with that gratitude. What do you got? What's in the win column for you? And the win column is every day with what I just itemized. Also, my husband's pretty funny. So when I come home and I start to, vent and, talk about the day or whatever, if it's not a good one, within 5 minutes, we're laughing about it. And then it's, okay, let's find out where our blind cat is. So, we just get over it quickly.
Well, there you go. You have a blind cat. I guess a blind cat's like,
when you got a blind cat.
Exactly. So, okay. So as I said,
needs to find the litter pan.
Exactly.
Really
unless then you'll have a really bad day. Now, all of you are successful in what you do. And you're women. And we had talked before air. I've told the story in the air before about my mom being a woman. I know it's 2023, and I still see a lot of misogynistic assholes out there. Okay, and I have no problem saying that. You know, I see it, and sometimes I can't believe what I'm in a breakout room and someone says something, and I'm like, are you joking me? Like are you serious? And I almost dropped the F-bomb there when I say I will. I'm like, are you fucking joking me? Like, why would you say that about a business peer? In this day and age, do you still find challenges being a woman in a workplace? And the sad thing is the answer should be no, Steve, we're completely treated the same. But there's people that aren't. And I'm going to start with you, Janet, because you said you've had different careers and you run an organization, but do you still see in the business world, in the networking world, do you see you still have challenges as a woman when you in a perfect world, you wouldn't. Do you see that?
Yeah, I still see it. Listen, I'm at a point in my career that I'm not challenged by that. Honestly, you know, I've been lucky that I've developed a strong sense of myself. And then and I've also learned to pick my own, you know, in my circumstance, I've learned to pick my own battles, right? You know, have I seen misogyny? Yes. Have I experienced it? Yes. You either decide to take it on or leave it. And if you have to take it on, you got to just kind of run them over a little bit. That's what I've done. But I do still see there's assumptions to women's capabilities still out there. There is a lack of understanding of the plates that women juggle. I do think more so than men to this day. You know, these two women are still raising children. They have challenges that maybe their male counterparts don't have. And I do think that's going to continue to be an area of our society. You know, I heard about what your mother had experienced, and, you know, yeah, holy cow. To today, the next level of that challenge is having a true acceptance of the entire life of the adult worker. You know, they also are a caregiver at home. They have children. They might have aging parents. So I do see that leans still more heavily on women. And men don't recognize how hard it is. You know, like Krista talks about this and that and this, but, you know, Krista probably goes home and then has to make sure the homework's done, the dinner's on the table, the dog's let out, right? Chances are maybe Krista's taking on more of that burden than her spouse. I don't know. He seems like a nice fella. So that's still very much a burden for women.
Okay.
Plain and simple. But
That's
misogyny, you just kind of beat them upside the head and, you know, make them realize that was silly.
Good. How about you, Jenny?
So I definitely don't deal with that now. I definitely did, you know, in the past. I had a little funny story. So when I first started, you know, I was waitressing and I went to this, you know, restaurant in Center City, and I'll never forget because I was like so excited and I was like, I want to be a front waiter. So like, that's the terms they use. You were either a back waiter, you were a front waiter. So I went into this one place and, you know, the general manager was like, yeah, he's like, I have a day shift available, like for lunches, you know, but night shift, you know, that's not available. And I'm like, well, why? And he's like, you know, it kind of just like going around the question. I'm like, yeah, I did kind of notice you don't have any females working at night. Is there a reason for that? Oh, no. And I was like, well, thank you so much. I said, I really appreciate the opportunity. I said, but I'm a front waiter and I work at night. So I don't, you know, come during the day. And then I went to walk away and he said, you know, come here real quick. And he goes, you think you could handle that? I said, yeah. Is this a challenge? And I ended up being the first female front waiter at this restaurant in Center City. And I worked there for many, many years. And it actually led me into being the first general manager woman for a entertainment company that they're publicly traded across the country, 21 locations. So, yeah, I definitely dealt with it. I definitely think it's something that still happens today. I can't say I deal with it now because I work with, the company I work for, they're just simply amazing and just treat women and everyone so well. But yeah, we do have a lot on our plate. I'll come home and joke, and I'm like, I'm Jenny from the block. I can handle anything, like I can do it all. So yeah,
Yeah, you shouldn't have told me that, because now when I see you at an event, I'll go, hey, it's Jenny from the block.
Everybody does it.
How about you, Krista? How about you? What do you see? Because you're in the banking world.
So I will say the banking world's actually done a fabulous job of really having a lot of female executives and a good mix, and a lot of mentors for me to look up to. And also, TD specifically does a fabulous job of really, building women in culture. But listen, yes, there's been a million times, especially when I was younger in banking. Oh my gosh, the customers would come in and just sit there, stare, and hit on you. And you're like, I can't go anywhere. I can't just walk away. So, there's been a million times when there's been issues along the way. And one of the roles we have is going out and meeting with customers, and people have been inappropriate. But, you just, to Janet's point, you just stay tough and you just don't put up with it. And you make sure it's very clear that you're not going to tolerate it. And even as a young woman, when I was first starting out, I didn't tolerate it either. So, eventually people learn, okay, this is not worth my time. This chick, she's not the one. And I think honestly, I've had so many amazing men that I've met along the way that have been mentors to me, that really even, made it clear that you can do anything. So it's been great, and I give all of them so much credit. One thing that is hard is, as women, sometimes we are very, very empathetic and nurturing, and definitely you can't always be that way when you're on the risk side of the house that I'm at now. So it's been a little bit challenging, making sure that you remember service is very key, but there's a lot of times you have to save people from themselves, say no, and not feel awful about it. So.
Okay, so no, we all network. That's how I know you all. Well, we're all networkers. That's anyone who comes on the show is a networker, and we all want to introduce people. And I get that, the fact from all of you talking. You all want to help people out. What is a characteristic in someone that you will help them out? Like, I know someone who, I told someone the story last night. I was at an event with a friend of mine, and this person made an anti-Semitic comment in front of me. And I said, I will never help this person out. Never. Okay. This person, dead to me, because that's disgusting. But then there's someone who can be like shy, but they're like, you can tell they really want to get out there. They just don't know how. And I will help them out because, I think, as you said, mentoring, we have to nurture people and help people out. But what are some characteristics that if you sit there and you meet someone at an event and you go, man, this person has integrity or this, that, what are some characteristics that will make you right there go, I really want to help this person out because they just seem good? And we'll start with you, Krista.
Yes, genuineness is everything to me.
Just gonna say that.
I mean, it is so important. And at this point in my life, I can easily sense out if you are genuine or not genuine. And when, to your point, a shy person, if they just start rambling all about them and then blah, 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 and me, I'm tuning you out, because, you're here not just about you. We're here to make connections for each other. So that's really key to me, that someone that is going to be a give back and someone that's there for the right reasons. Also, one of my biggest pet peeves is follow up. Why are you here if you're not actually going to follow up? And that you can kind of tell pretty early on as well. There's no point going out and getting to know people if you're not actually going to take the moment to follow up and set a plan on how you can work together.
How about you, Janet? Because you meet a ton of people. You meet more people than anyone here. Because as you said, you have 400 members, and people are always joining. So, but when you're at event, because I'm sure people come to you and say, "Hey, and especially you probably get it all the time, like, oh, Janet, such and such, such and such." But what do you look for that you sit there and go, "Man, I really want to help this person out"?
Well, in my job, it's our job to connect people. We have a less opportunity to say, no, I'm not going to do this. No, I'm not going to do this. Our bend is we've got to do this. We've received requests to do it, right? So to Krista's point, yes, genuineness, right? Follow up. Those are two very, very good points. A third is skill. Are they skilled in what they're asking me to connect them with? And if I don't think they're there yet, and as the executive director of the chamber, my connection is important to both parties. So I think what I try to determine in that skill set is maybe I get some members that go, can you introduce me to, the biggest employer in the South Jersey? And they just started their business last year. And I try to cultivate that conversation. It's like, are you ready for that client? And so I really try to help them before I make that connection, make them prepared to be able to, succeed in that connection. So I kind of qualify them. Where are they in that skill set? And I might say, this might not be a great fit for you right now. How about this? There's always, right? Like we're all in sales. It's like, you can't have the Lamborghini, but hey, this Ford F-150 is awesome for you, right? And it's the same way. I am required to make connections. Mm-hmm. So, but I have to qualify them so everybody gets a win. So that skill set is the third part of it. Genuineness, yes. Following up is important, and that. So those are some of my things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about you, Jenny?
So that was the first thing that came to my mind is genuineness. One thing, I would say, I'm not a big fan of fake people, and everyone that knows me knows how I am and how I feel about that. I also very much pride myself on my reputation. So if I feel like you are full of crap and you just, you're coming to me and you want me to make this connection, I'm not doing it because, I've done it before and I've been burnt. My reputation is big, and I've had people come back to me like, Jenny, I trust you, and you're introducing me to someone that, this is what it is. So I really have to feel you out first, before I make that connection, because I feel every connection that I have is genuine. The people I have in my network and my circle are genuine. They would go above and beyond. And that's a circle I want to be in. Do I absolutely love making connections? I do. I love meeting new people. And yeah, a Coop, to you saying, you'll see that person. So I love going to an event, say Gloucester County, and I see someone in a corner by themselves. I am the first one that will go over, grab them. Hey, tell me about yourself. What do you do? And, and some people are really awesome, amazing people. They have, social anxiety, and they're, just trying to come out. It happened last night. I'm, at the event, and, this girl's sitting by herself, and I'm like, hey, listen, I came by myself. Let's be together. Let's, and then I met a gentleman, and we ended up power connecting and starting to meet other people. But you definitely, to be in my, I'm getting older, to be in my circle, you got to be genuine. You have to be a genuine person, and you have to be, you have to want to help each other. There's a lot of people I've met along the way, and especially in the last couple of years, that are just like, hey, connect me with this person. Hey, connect me with this person. And then they'll just say like, hey, I got a good person I'll connect you with. And then you never hear from them again. They don't respond back to you. They don't answer. They see you at an event and they're like, oh, sorry, I was so busy. We're all busy. I get it. But So genuine, honest, and not fake.
It's good. It's good you reach out to someone. I always see that. Like me and my wife went to Stockton State. Well, not Stockton University, and we had a. She volunteers. She writes letters to incoming freshmen, and so we went to a volunteer brunch. And I know the president. I know a few other people, and we went to this brunch. And we saw this young woman sitting all by herself, and I was like, "Hey, you just want to sit with us?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she appreciated it because that's right. It's something you don't want to see someone be alone at an event. So. Through the weeks of the show, I've learned I'm a minority because I don't read business books. Now, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys read business books, and you may, but we're going to find out because Janet said she put a book down recently, so I know she reads some of them. But I want to know if you've read a business book in the past year or in your life that has really made an impact on you. You know, I get different stuff. Like I did read The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, but I know it's very interesting. But is there a book, and we'll start with you, Janet, is there any business book that you've read that you've not put down and finished reading that you've made an impact on you?
No.
No?
I don't read books. I read newspaper articles. I read magazines. I'm a fiend about that stuff. I don't have the patience to sit down and read books. I've read them, but I can't say there's any specific business book that I've read. I read a lot of different reports. I read a lot of economic data, things of that nature. But motivating books or how-to books are not in my repertoire.
Oh, good. So you're like me. All right, good. So I have common ground with someone. I always feel stupid when I sit there and go, I went to one network and read, what did you read? I'm like, I read Motley Crue, The Dirt. And they're like, well, no, we're talking about books. And
that
I'm like,
gets you there, though.
I'm like, okay. How about you, Jenny? Do you read business books?
No, absolutely not. Oh, the only book I've actually, Coop, I've read 2 books in my life. One was the Cat in the Hat when I was younger, and the other one is only I literally read it because I started 75 Hard and you had to read 10 pages a day. I read David Goggins. It was the best, most motivational book. And that is all I read. I'm in Sandler training now, so I'm on week 8. So the books that they give, I do read that, and it definitely is, really good and teaches you a lot about people, and I've learned a lot in that. But absolutely not. I don't read books. Not a book reader.
Wow, man, this is crazy. This has never happened. Krista, I know you read books. Come on, you got to bring it home. I can't have 3 people. I mean, I love it because you're all like me. We're your people. If we had, because I said it's like you sit there and you hear some of these books, and some sound really interesting, and some you go, that sounds like a load of shit. But there, it's a thing. But Krista, do you read the business books? Please say you do, and give us an example.
Yes, I do. I read all the time. No, in my extra free time that I have. But in all honesty, I have actually read a book recently because I am working on my time management. So I actually read the 12-week year, and it gave
that
me
I've read.
Really?
That I've read. That's a great book.
So why don't you say that, Janet?
10 years ago, I read it. I read it 10 years ago.
Keep going, Krista.
So it's all about blocking your calendar and making sure that you take ownership of your calendar. So clearly it's resignated, and I'm doing everything perfectly now.
Good. You need to take care of that calendar, because I had someone, they reached out to me and they said, we should meet for coffee. And I said, okay. And they said, they gave me like a date like 6 weeks in advance. And I said, no, I don't do anything more than 2 weeks. I will not do anything. I will not, because if you're that important, if you want to meet with me, I'm not 6 weeks. I'm like, I could be dead by then. I mean, seriously.
But that's all the different points in the book. It actually is a very helpful time management tool.
It is a great book. So I did read that, and it really.
Oh man, I guess I might have to read it.
There you go. See,
it's like it's big.
That's why.
Now, here's a point of the show I always love. I always bring it up, and I have to preface this by I don't hate LinkedIn. Okay, I do like LinkedIn. I reached out to all of you on LinkedIn, and that's how I get guests for the show, and that's how I get business. But there's a lot of things that bother me on LinkedIn. Like, I love business coaches if you're a good business coach. Okay, there's a great business coaches and there's crappy business coaches. I was at an event a while ago and someone's like, well, my business coach said and I said, well, you know what? I don't give a shit what your business coach said. What do you think? Like, what's your view? So I have a problem with sometimes when people saying, this coach, this coach, this coach. That's one thing that bothers me on LinkedIn this week. What is something that bothers you with LinkedIn? And, and as I said, it's great. It's a great format and it's great, but there's things that bother, and I get this every week. Krista, is there anything that bothers you about LinkedIn?
I bother me on LinkedIn because I have no idea what to put. And I'm like at this event, and I'm like, here I am at this event. Like, I don't know what to say. And I honestly, sometimes I just am like, why did I even post? But I do it. I do it. And I look at it, and I have definitely gotten business from LinkedIn. I was at one point called a LinkedIn stalker. So, it's been a good tool for me.
All right. How about you, Jenny?
So it's funny. I never actually ever used to use LinkedIn. I'm a big Facebook and Instagram. Like, I'm always, posting and this, that, the other. And then I, realize I'm like, wow, a lot of people are on LinkedIn. I got to get on LinkedIn. My problem is sometimes I am so I feel like I'm so real and I can't make myself, like, I've talked to Janet about this before. I'm like, Janet, like, how do I make myself sound more professional? Because I'm always like, hey, at this event, and everything's always like so fun and how I post. And I'm like, I was talking to Tim and Deb Jennings last night about it. I was like, sometimes I just feel like my posts aren't, and they're like, no, Jenny, it's genuine. It's not the AI. You're not like using AI to, I go, well, I didn't even think of that. Maybe I should start using AI. But but I'm like, no, like, my posts are genuine. I'm here, I'm there. Yesterday I'm in Jersey to Philly to Inspira to this, we're all over the place. But the only thing I'd say that bothers me is sometimes, someone will friend request me and I'll get it. And I don't even get a hello. It's, hey, I was looking at your LinkedIn and, yeah, this is your company needs my marketing and they need this and they need that. Like, they don't even say like, hi, Jenny, how are you? It's, hey, I was looking at this. You're really suffering in this aspect in your business and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wow, nice to meet you too. And they're, sometimes I'm like, wow, hey, we need to work on our entry.
I got to tell you, Jenny, do keep being genuine though, because you may not know this, but when I see a post, someone goes, "Oh, I was at the most fabulous, glorious event," I go, "Shut up." Like, no one talks like that. Like, I went out, me and my wife were in the Dominican Republic for our anniversary. I didn't come back and go, "Oh, I had the most glorious time." I said, no, me and my wife had a great time. And so be genuine, because people see through the bullshit and people don't get it. And you can tell when something's written by AI. You can sit there and you go, because it's all spaced the same. But Janet, what about you on LinkedIn? Because you post goods, because you have to post pictures of events, because that's what you do. And people want to see that. But do you have any things you don't like about LinkedIn?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't need to know about your workout at the gym on LinkedIn. Keep your shirt on, man. Keep your shirt on. That's it, right? I mean, this stuff, I have no, like, that's Facebook and that's Instagram. There's a platform for that. But on LinkedIn, I need you to have your clothes on for me to connect with you. I think that's a basic premise of the professional network. Unless you're in that space, like if you own a gym, okay, that makes sense, right? If you're a bodybuilder by trade, okay, that makes sense. I don't know any bodybuilders, although I do get Arnold Schwarzenegger's newsletter every morning. I love it. I love that thing. So, but he doesn't have his shirt off when he sends me his email. So that's my beef. Keep your shirt on.
I agree with that. It's funny. By the way, if you haven't watched it, look at the on Netflix, the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. So here's the final question. I always like to ask this to wrap the show up. You meet someone who's out of high school, out of college, out of trade school, and they're starting this wonderful traveling route to what we do, being in the business world. And they ask you for advice. They say, give me some insight to what will help me out in the long run. Jenny, what do you tell someone who comes up to you and they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and they want to take it over? What do you tell them? What advice do you give them?
Always stand by who you truly are, be genuine in this world, no matter how, we live in an unkind world sometimes. So never be fake and never be somebody that you're not just to impress someone else. That's definitely one big thing I would say. I would definitely say, be genuine, help everybody, help each other out. Don't go, thinking that, being condescending because that person's, some big, I always say all the time, I treat the janitor the same as I treat a CEO. So that's one way I would definitely give advice.
Okay. How about you, Krista?
I would say to someone that would be going into my career, not to focus on the goals. You must focus on each customer, each opportunity at a time, and be, to steal Jenny's word, genuine in everything you're doing, because success will come with the right behavior. If you just focus on doing the right behaviors each day and doing things for the right reasons, and not, there's so many times I refer people outside because it doesn't make sense for them to do whatever they're doing, and I want to retain them as a relationship. So focus on relationships and success will come.
How about you, Janet?
Oh, well, I tell you what, two things. Number one, I get a lot, people that want to go into business, right? That's, they come to me like, they want to open a business. And honestly, the first question I ask them is, how are you going to make money? Because a lot of people come to me with some great ideas, but there's no market for it. So you have to be honest with them, because you have to make money, because you got to go to the grocery store and pay your car payment. So that's fact. I think for the long haul, and I tell young people this, listen, I'm in the twilight of my career. I've been lucky at the Gloucester County Chamber to start. It's called the Crew on Deck. It's a young professional group. And what I try to tell them at 25 or 26, because they can't fathom what it's like in my bracket. But, always throughout your career, find a way, and there's going to be lots of changes in your career, as you guys can all attest to, is continue to find a way to be relevant in your field. Make sure you're up on all the technology as much as you can, your relationships, what's around the corner. Make sure that you are constantly building your skills, whether you're 25, 35, or, 70. And I'm not there yet, not at 70, but just be relevant, because where you're, Krista started is, customer service, right? And here she is, running with the big dogs. Jenny, started waiting tables, and here she is, like the best networker on the planet. And because they've always managed to stay relevant and up on their skills. And that is truly the way you survive and have a great, strong career.
Well, that was awesome. I want to thank you all for coming on. How can people get in touch with you? Jenny, how can people get in touch with you?
You can go through my LinkedIn. You can go through my Facebook. You can definitely call my cell phone. I can post it on when you post this after. Reach out, please, anytime. Anybody who needs, advice, anything, wants to connect to somebody, or reach out, call me.
How about you, Janet?
You can reach us through the Gloucester County Chamber website. That's gc-chamber.com. Reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation with you.
All right. And you, Krista?
I would say LinkedIn is best. I do have my contact information available through LinkedIn.
Okay, so people, reach out to them. If you want to join a Chamber of Commerce, reach out to Janet. If you need restoration, reach out to Jenny. And if you need banking advice, reach out to Krista. And you can reach out to me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. If you want to advertise and sponsor an episode, please hit me up, because the people who do my show are shakers and movers in the business world, and the people who watch the show are shakers and movers. So wouldn't you want your name out to those people? Also, if you have an event coming up and you need a moderator, I moderate great. A lot of moderators suck. I have no problem saying that. They're boring. They fall asleep. I know how to read a room. I have years of doing stand-up comedy. I'm good at moderating. And also, SuiteRecording. Go to SuiteRecording.com. If you have a podcast you want to start or want to find more about the business, hook up with Joe. So I want to thank Joe Gangemi from SuiteRecording producing the show. Also, Rich DeSista from SuiteRecording. I'm Steve Cooper. I will talk to you all next time.